Garment production is the elephant in the room. Sweatshops. This is the most visible and most vulnerable in which a brand may find themselves in because consumers are aware to varying degrees of the exploitation that happens in factories in the developing world when it comes to making clothes. So sweatshops, low wages, long hours, and poor conditions. So we looked at that and what it actually means. Um, we looked at the Rana Plaza collapse, the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire factory in New York, and saying it's all part of the same narrative of industry that's unregulated that tends to exploit people when they're at their most vulnerable, uh, and then tragically ending in disasters like this. So obviously, can you guess what the issue is going to be that we ask you to deal with? How do you make sure the factory is safe? How do you make sure that conditions are not poor or miserable? How do you make sure that they're being paid an appropriate wage? And that's not as easy as it seems because we also said that perhaps a wage should be fair, but that fair is subjective. What's fair to you is not fair to me in terms of hourly wage. And so we started looking at measures of fairness. So, how would you measure fairness of a wage in a country? Is what you'd look at. So conditions. So this topic's sort of about the morals and ethics and how you come to a fair and reasonable arrangement when it comes to sourcing from a particular factory or country overseas. So to pass, identifying any of the theories that may be applicable. So this is pretty much sits in the social one. We did look at environmental in terms of I think it was a paper hangers and the boxes that we use when you pack the garments to send to Australia. Should you use recycled boxes? But this is predominantly about the social issues, education, health, political voice, etc., uh, to improve these conditions. To get a credit, then, you would cite some of the examples, such as these here. So they're examples of it. Distinction, find your own examples of instances overseas or anywhere in history where there's been problems. Recall the Nike and Nike's solution, or Nike's problems in terms of disputes and also their solutions. And high distinction, how well you can articulate the problem for the brand and your solution as appropriate to the brand that we give you. Remember, if we give you Kmart, it's going to be a slightly different answer than if we give you a slightly more upmarket brand like David Jones or Myer in terms of garment production and the ethics of getting other people to make your clothes.